Hey there, Danavan Hylton, your business, civics, and community leader, connecting with you for a few minutes just to stimulate the brain. If there's some music in the background, please forgive me, but I want to stop what I was doing to get this message out. So right now we're going to talk about, as I'm doing some research, of course, on getting tighter in my skills as a CEO, as a sales and marketing manager, as a corporate ambassador. I'm always doing research, and in this case, I was led to local marketing, which is what I specialize in through a grassroots marketing way, but was led to consumer psychology. And from my previous video, you already kind of know that I have a feeling when I hear the word consumer, indirectly I hear the word follower, and that could be a horrible choice of correlations, but I feel that a consumer is someone that is receiving, and that's okay, except if you're not producing anything from a economic standpoint, then you can only receive so much unless you're receiving handouts. And so when it comes to consumer psychology, I wanted to stop and dig deeper into it, because if we're looking at consumer psychology, we can also look at masculine psychology, especially if you're looking to become a masculine male. And what does that mean? Or if you're looking to not even become masculine male, but if you just want to overstand masculine energy, especially when it comes to production and what that looks like, and how production can become leadership minded. And in essence, I wanted to go ahead and break down consumer psychology and make sure that our minds are producer psychology as much as possible, even though there is a thing as consumer psychology, and there has to be a balance. But as much as we can, how do we produce producer psychology? In order for that to happen, let's first get deeper into consumer psychology. So we're going to use www.marketing-schools.org, marketing-schools, plural, schools.org. And there's so many different sources you can use. I just, in this particular case, the spirit led me here. There wasn't no particular reason to use this source. And because it came to me and I went through it for a few seconds, felt it was just some good information to stop and break down. There could be, and if you're in research and development personally, as well as your career, it's always good to look at multiple sources. But in this case, I felt it was just imperative to take a little bit of what I do and my focus in life and what I do in my downtime outside of my personal and my career is continue to develop personally. And this is information that's not only imperative for me personally, but also in my business. And so if nothing else, it stimulates you. But at any rate, consumer psychology. Understanding, this is the first sentence from marketing-schools.org from consumer psychology. Understanding the complex process with which the minds of consumers take is the holy grail of marketing. Understanding the complex process with which the minds of consumers take is the holy grail of marketing. And I just wanted to pause real quick to really process what we just read. Understanding the complex process with which the minds of consumers take is the holy grail of marketing. So before I even get deep into the sentence, there's keywords that already jumped out to where I feel like this sentence is going to have a deeper meaning. And even though I didn't read the sentence and process it all the way through, but first of all, understanding, which I always use the word overstanding, which is to have a solid foundation in knowing. So knowing and agreeing to the complex process. Process is something that is a part of three components, which is input, process, and output, which creates a system. So basically, knowing and agreeing to a complex system with which the mind of a consumer, which is the individual at the end of the day, the mind, the thought process of the consumer take is the holy grail of marketing. So if I didn't even know what holy grail was, I would stop and just look it up, because it's saying it's the holy grail of marketing. So let's stop and just look up what holy grail means. Okay, so I just typed in real quick on holy grail Google. First thing that popped up on Google, number one, said in medieval legend, it was the cup or platter used by Jesus at the Last Supper, in which Joseph of Arimathea received Christ's blood at the cross. Quests for it undertaken by medieval knights are described in versions of the Arthurian legends written from the early 13th century onward. So automatically there's keywords in that. And we automatically know that if we're talking about the Grail, holy to me means something that's sacred or separate. So we know that's something special. But when we look at the word Grail, so now we see some type of cup or platter used by the Christ of Jesus, which is basically sought after. So that we already know that from that perspective, the Grail is something of significance. The second definition of Grail here on Google is a thing that is being earnestly pursued or sought after. So obviously, in that regard, 2 becomes the 1 in regards to the medieval legend where it was a cup at the Last Supper for Christ, which is being sought after by the knights since the early 13th century. The second definition says here, the Grail is a thing that is being earnestly pursued or sought after. So when we go back to consumer psychology in the first 2 sentences, and it says here, the first sentence says, knowing and agreeing to the complex systems with which the minds of consumers take is the wholly sought after, or the wholly pursued, if you will, of marketing. So basically, understanding the complex system of consumers is what marketers in the marketing industry is seeking at all times, mastering that craft. And if it's that case, you can look at marketing also in your personal life. So if you need to market, if you need to understand the craft of the consumer from business, you also need to understand the craft of the consumer in your personal life. Because your personal is your business and your business is your personal. We got to make sure that the two are matching so that we don't put ourselves in economic turmoil, including myself. So when you automatically know that the Holy Grail, what's being sought after is the consumer, and understanding that complex system, and for marketing, you know you got to be walking sharp. And you know that the industry is going to be sharp because they're breaking you down to a T, with all due respect. It is the key of creating wildly successful marketing campaigns and expanding the reach of whatever product you offer. Consumer psychology, according to marketingschools.org, says consumer psychology is the key to creating wildly successful marketing campaigns and expanding the reach of whatever product you offer. And again, I'm a personal and a career perspective individual from the dualistic perspective at all times. And so when I'm looking at that consumer psychology is widely successful when it comes to marketing campaigns, what are we marketing here? Are we marketing commercial consumer products here? Or are we marketing personal products? So now you can get into your whole men, how do you attract your mate, and women, how do you attract your mate based upon consumer psychology? So it can get that deep, and I know you're like, well, how do you get from marketing all the way to personal? But you have to be able to look at things from all perspectives and know how do those perspectives affect your personal life as well as your career. You have to be able to mesh those two together. So going back here, it is the key to creating wildly successful marketing campaigns and expanding the reach of whatever product you offer. Just to be clear, according to Business Dictionary, marketing campaign, it means the efforts of a company or third-party marketing company to increase awareness for a particular product or service, or to increase consumer awareness of a business or organization. So a marketing campaign is usually an effort from a company or a third-party marketing company to increase awareness of a particular product or service, or to increase consumer awareness of a business or an organization. Why is it so important? Because we have to understand that people are wanting us to reach a result that was preconceived before you as a consumer knew about it. And for those things to happen, you have to go through certain steps prior to the consumer actually going through the transaction, which is planned a lot of times, obviously, by the producer. And my point is, when you're able to literally, with all due respect, create processes that lead to transactions because you know the psychology of the individual, which 9 times out of 10 plays the role of a consumer, then one could put themselves in a position to always be on the receiving end. And that's okay. But to be a powerhouse, your own one is only as strong as its weakest link. So I'm always advocating, how does everyone get a chance to at least be aware of how to capitalize on the results they're looking to achieve based upon the conceptions that are coming to them. And therefore, a piece of how you can get a better result-oriented return on your investment is by understanding what consumer psychology is. And I just popped it up here on marketingschools.org, marketing-schools.org. Consumer psychology is the knowing and agreeing of a complex system with which the minds of consumers take the wholly approach to marketing. So these guys already know and accept the complex system that the minds of the consumer have in order to be the best in marketing, and in order to be successful in consumer psychology, you already have to have a marketing campaign that's designed to reach and create awareness about the product that you offer. 9 times out of 10, if you're creating a product, it should be able to sell itself. All you got to do is just focus on getting the awareness out there. And so I hope all this makes sense. I'm talking in two folds because this is a personal and a career conversation, and how it's important for you to not only survive but thrive in your career by knowing these keywords and by understanding these approaches as to how things can work to your advantage. And also in your personal life, if things are not going the way that you want them and you happen to find yourself on the receiving end, it could be because your psychology is one that's designed to receive. Now, your psychology doesn't necessarily have to be who you are. It's just your thought process at that time. So if you change your thought process in love and with integrity, obviously, to a more producer mindset, you may be able to unleash some of the harvest from the seeds that I know that you've been planting for a long time. And so it's just basically becoming aware of the fact that there are producer as well as consumer psychologies. And so I'm not going to get too much more into it. I just wanted to stimulate your mind. If you are a marketing, business developer, or a sales professional, obviously this keyword, consumer psychology, is something that has to be within your repertoire in order for you to reach maximum sales and lead generation peak. If you are looking to reach the goals that you want to set in your personal life, you now understand, agree, and know that you have to become producer-minded, as there is a thing called consumer psychology, and how there are those with skills to be able to understand and even manipulate the psychology of a consumer. And so it sounds like possibly without you making the effort, all individuals are consumers until they make the effort to become producers. And sometimes you can never make the effort to become a producer because you never know, one, you're a consumer, and two, you don't know how to become a producer. I'm not giving you the answers here. I'm just stimulating these keywords for you to take your chance in the information age to get the information that you need to reach the goals that you want to get, both in your personal and career lifestyle. Danavan Hylton, again, CEO of Hylton Elite Marketing Agency, your full-service sales and marketing firm in the business of recruiting and retaining customers, employees, and local residents for my clients in the public and private sector, mostly looking to reach and maximize and build relationships in diverse communities. Our firm is in the business of local marketing, grassroots marketing, to get that job done for those that are employers, elected officials, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, workforce development organizations, business associations, as well, small businesses, local businesses looking to reach and dominate their territory, their zip code, whatever have you, www.e1connect.com. Self-sustaining business run by my wife and I. If you feel this information was of value to you in any way, we're always looking to and thanking you for your donations monetarily to whatever you felt this message was worth by visiting www.cash.me/$ the letter E, the number 1, CONNECT. So that's www.cash.me/$ E1Connect. And thank you so much for keeping me uplifted in your prayers as I do for you. And remember, Hylton Elite Marketing Agency, we're more than just marketing.